Kia ora and welcome to the D1NZ D1NZ National Drifting Championship. Founded in 2003, it features some of the best drivers from New Zealand and Australia for 6 rounds across New Zealand. It's high action, it's the V8s versus the turbos. It's the National Drifting Championship, brought to you by D1NZ, Gulf Fuels New Zealand, Cody's Bourbon and Cola, Pyro Company Fireworks, The Rock FM, Metal Militia, The Bling Company, Laser Tools, and Club Auto Insurance. Well, I'm joined in voiceover with Kenny McCormick, and it all went down at round 1, Kenny.
Yes, that's right, Brendan. Round 1 at Manfield was all about the Turbo vs V8 battle, getting underway for the 2014-15 Championship Series. Andrew Redwood versus Darren Kelly. Darren Kelly in a borrowed car, but he was unfazed, and he went on to take his first ever round victory in the Pro Championship.
We then moved to the first of the concrete jungles and the only night round here in New Zealand for drifting. Club Auto chucking down the FMX, but it was all action on track for the Milwaukee S15 of Drew Donovan. An unfortunate end to his championship fight, but then it went even more extreme, Kenny.
Yes, that's right. All the way from the South Island, Phil Sutherland rolling his A31 Zafiro in front of a packed house at Mount Smart Stadium. And despite all that, the action was still hot at the pointy end of the championship fight. Andrew Redwood making contact with Kurt Whitaker, and that gave him an easy pass into the final 4. But first, it was the semi-final up against Gaz Whiter, and Gaz Whiter too, just like Redwood, couldn't make that chase stick through Sector 1. He'd tag the wall and would be all over for Whiter. Kurt Whitaker through to the final against Fangadan.
And the final was over before it was even started. Kurt Whitaker and Fangadan nearly coming in contact on the second pass. The first one scored even, giving the Autoshore R34 top bragging rights for round 2, Mount Smart Stadium, which leads us into the championship fight. Darren Kelly leads. He's out in front. Woolhouse, 2-time New Zealand champion, a bit further down, followed by Whitaker and Templeman. Now it's all about Baypark, Kenny.
Yes, that's right. Round 3 brings us to the beautiful Bay of Plenty in Tauranga. Round 3 at ASB Baypark Stadium. Absolute packed house and an amazing atmosphere. As always, it is really one of the marquee events on the D1NZ calendar.
Yes, Mount Maunganui turning on with over 7,500 people coming out in their droves to witness New Zealand's best for the last of the concrete rounds. Now let's go trackside and check out what some of those top drivers had to say about the venue.
Baypark, this is the 3rd time that we've been here. The track is very similar, if not exactly the same as what it always has been. It's quite a technical little section, it's quite short.
Yeah, this track's been the same for 3 years and it doesn't need changing. It's that good. You just got to be on the wall every corner.
Yeah, it's same as the last round, so we've all driven here, level playing fields.
It's all pretty full on and they're all outside clips, so you got to be on your game.
That's our only right-hand entry, so we're on the driver's door, which is so much better. You get a lot more peripheral vision where you know where your rear quarter of the car is. And a lot of the time we're this way and you're sort of just guessing.
I do enjoy a tight track, especially when it's a high-risk track like this one here, and plenty of crowd, which just brings pumps you up a lot more, so you just go harder, 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 which is mad.
Yeah, certainly comfortable on the line that the judges are asking for. It's more just a matter of fine-tuning that and making sure you're at the pointy end of the field when qualifying starts.
It can't be set up any different. It only flows one way and it's only got the way it's shaped and stuff like that.
It'd be nice if we had a bit of cloud cover so we're not all scorching, but yeah, it's good to be back at Baypark and a nice concrete jungle again.
ASB Baypark has been a new addition to the D1NZ calendar in recent years, but it's proved to be a favourite amongst the drivers and fans, producing spectacular door-to-door battles and plenty of carnage. Baypark is the 2nd and final custom course of the season, featuring a fast-flowing outside clipping zone layout, which features only 2 sectors in the new scoring format. Leaving the start line to begin Sector 1 will see drivers reach up to 110 km/h sideways into the first outside clipping zone. Judges want to see a big committed entry at Baypark, with the rear of the car within 1 foot of all the outside clipping zones. The line judge will want to see drivers take a wide line and create a smooth arc through to the next outside clipping zone. Cutting shallow to create an appearance of car speed will result in points deductions, as will creating a diagonal clipping point line throughout the course. Smooth, fast and consistent driving will gain maximum points. The style judge will award points for minimal use of the handbrake and minimal use of left foot braking throughout both sectors. Entering Sector 2, drivers need to carry momentum and car speed through to another outside clipping zone before slingshooting the vehicle in an aggressive and concise switch to set themselves up for another wide line, again creating a smooth arc to the outside clipping zone. Fast, smooth and consistent driving will reward maximum points from all three judges in both sectors. Judges want to see full throttle use and an exhibition of speed and control while following the competition criteria.
Stay tuned, coming up after the break, D1NZ qualifying.
At D1NZ, we tend to call these rounds concrete jungles, and this is why. We line the course with 4-ton concrete barriers. When you get it wrong, it makes a real mess. What you can see here is a tyre mark from a car that was airborne yesterday along the wall.
Yeah, well, Kenny, one thing we definitely don't want to see is cars hitting the wall, and an unfortunate end for Drew Donovan's Milwaukee S15 as he came in for qualifying. Well, it was his first pass, and he didn't actually score a point, which managed him to go out in Jody Verhulst's Milwaukee Supra, his partners, and put a qualifying run down. Played it safe, but nonetheless, it was great to see him back out on the track after such a heavy crash.
Nowhere near as bad as the last crash up at round 2, but tagged the wall on the first qualifying lap, so luckily still had one that I could go out in Jody's car.
Is it kind of odd watching your own car being driven out there, or how do you feel about it?
A little bit. He's had a couple of good drives with it, but I mean he's a good driver. He'll pull it off no matter what.
Yeah, that's right, Brendan. The concrete is a necessary factor here at the custom concrete courses to keep the fans safe. And one driver who was well at home behind the wheel was Matt Lauder in the Blink Company 180SX, the Stormtrooper, picking up 10th place in qualifying.
Yeah, this is the business end. It's a long way to come for a lot of these drivers not to qualify, but Adam Hedges delivered the goods as he tapped the wall with 9th position in qualifying.
Kurt Whitaker in the Autoshaw R34, the V8 Invasion, qualifying in 8th position, one of the dark horses for the championship title fight this season, and he is absolutely loving that new torque package on board that R34.
Our 4-time defending champion Gaz Wider had brake issues coming into qualifying, but the team worked very frantically, got out on the track, just played it safe. He picked up 7th position in the Tech Deloitte S14.
Next up was Danem Templeman in the NAC Insurance RX7, another of the turbo campaigners taking on the V8 Invasion this year. Former circuit racer, converted to drifting many years ago, and he is absolutely loving it out there in these concrete rounds.
Qualifying done and dusted here at Baypark, Demon Energy, D1NZ, round 3. Darren Kelly, qualifying position number 5. How did you feel out there? You look pretty committed.
Yeah, for our first run we sort of tried to do a reasonably safe run, being we'd just seen Drew go in the wall. We weren't sure if there was some oil on the track or anything, so first run got that in the bank, then second run just went for it.
Darren Kelly picking up 5th position for qualifying.
Daniel Woolhouse, 4th place. How'd the car feel out there?
Oh yeah, it was. We had a little bit of problem. It was like hooking up pretty much in that first run. I put a bit more pressure on the tyres, and so I can let it hang out and get out to the clipping points. And then on that in the second run, I was like, oh, it's all in now. You know, I had one in the bag that was sort of about mid-pack qualifying.
Words of wisdom there. Get one in the bank and then push the VE Commodore to its limits. Bang Dan Woolhouse picking up 4th position in the Century Batteries Commodore.
Yeah, good. Sort of been improving throughout the day, changing my lines, and just went out there and decided that I can actually get full throttle around both first 2 clipping points, and yeah, it was good.
Andrew Redwood picking up 3rd.
Joe Kukatai, you just got pipped for that top qualifying spot, but you must be feeling pretty good.
Pretty stoked, man. I mean, yeah, it was the goal was just to qualify high, qualify consistent. Just all through practice, found ourselves and found a consistent line and just stuck to it, and it paid off. So yeah, basically bin it or win it. So it's paying off. Just you can't back off, man. You just got to commit to it. So that's what we're going with.
Win it or bin it. What an attitude to have from the series young gun and the Rockstar R32. Joe Kukatai taking out 2nd place.
And after 3 years of struggles at this venue, the hometown hero Cole Armstrong grabs an all-important extra 12 championship points. He qualifies in number 1.
Qualifying at round 3 has just been smashed out of the park by this man, the local hero, Cole Armstrong. My friend, position number 1. That's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. We've been here 3 years now, and last year I crashed out, didn't get into getting qualifying points, and the year before I hit Nick. So this year, pumped to show the local people how I drive this new beast of ours, and also for the team that's put a lot of effort into it. It's awesome.
So before we get to the main battles, it's the Pro-Am Development Series, the feeder series for D1NZ, and some of those rising stars. Troy Jenkins leads it, followed by Joel Patterson in the series challenge, but it's the top 4 from Baypark, Stuart Baker versus Pernell Callaghan, and Quentin Waratini versus Gagan Singh. So it's a good series to watch, and if you're interested in getting into drifting, what a great way to do it. It's D1 Pro-Am.
Yeah, taking a look at the top 4 Pro-Am highlights from Baypark, and it was Pernell Callaghan in the 2JZ powered R32 Skyline, giving chase to Stuart Baker for the semi-final, and Pernell would come out on top with an absolute consistent run all weekend, and really just coming of age in his debut Pro-Am season.
Yeah, well, this is our top 4 highlights from Baypark. Now, if you want to catch the top 16 or top 8, you can visit and watch it all online, D1NZ.com. 2 more rising stars is that of Gagan Singh. He's from Auckland out on front, followed by Quentin Waratini, the local Wellingtonian. 2 amazing-looking cars. Darren Kelly won in that car at round 1, Kenny, and Gagan Singh, though, on the lead, very consistent.
Yeah, that's right. Gagan held the advantage here. Quentin Waratini just doing everything he could into the chase, but it just wasn't enough, which made him line up against Stuart Baker for the battle for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, Stuart Baker, really nice down-to-earth guy. You wouldn't even think he has an angry, aggressive style when you talk to him. Very quiet as well. But when he's out on the track, it's a totally different person as he chases down Waratini now for that final 3rd podium spot in Pro-Am. Slight advantage there, very even to the drivers, but slight advantage to Stuart Baker as we swap over now. It's all on Waratini to see what he can do on his chase at the concrete jungle.
Yeah, Quentin Waratini in the A31 Safira giving chase to Stuart Baker in the S13. A little bit offline here, but he's doing everything he can to shadow and match what the lead car is doing, and he closes the gap now through sector 2, but it just doesn't stick. He's struggling there a little on the switch, and he just doesn't really get that aggressive switch that the judges are looking for. The end of the chase is good, but Baker just holds the advantage.
Yeah, well, we'll find out in a second who grabs that 3rd top podium spot, but right now, 2 very contrasting R32 Nissan Skyline chassis. Gagan Singh on the chase, Pernell Callaghan on the lead there. Pernell, first year in Pro-Am, but he's committed somewhat a lot of time and effort, lots of track days out there, really trying to learn the sport and the art of drifting. Gagan has this now high horsepower monster R32 beast chasing him down, and that will be a slight advantage there to Pernell on his lead.
Yeah, that's right, Brendan. Pernell leading out in the 2JZ Toyota-engined R32 and being hunted down by a more purist RB30-powered R32 Skyline. This time, Gagan's got the lead. What can he pull out of the bag as Pernell comes on through? Perhaps he knows he holds a bit of an advantage because he's holding back a little bit, ever so slightly here on Gagan, but then puts the loud pedal down and is starting to reel him in through this final sector. Can Gagan pull away through this final wall ride? He can't really do it. Pernell Callaghan has done enough, and he'll take his first ever round victory here for his debut season in the Pro-Am Development Series.
Yes, well, a very well-earned champagne shower there for Pernell Callaghan as he now sits in 5th position. Troy Jenkins still leading the stronghold, only ever so slightly though. Coming up after the break, it's D1NZ Top 32 action.
Welcome back to the Demon Energy D1NZ Championship Series, the top 32 from round 3 at ASB Baypark. Cole Armstrong and Fangadan get a bye in their top 32 battles. Look out for Bruce Tannock lining up against Shane Van Gisbergen, and of course series points leader Darren Kelly up against Stephen Soul.
On the flip side of the table, Gaz White is going to be one to watch out for as Joe Kukutai and Andrew Redwood get those all-important buys, and Danum Templeman versus Drew Donovan. Well, after a very interesting pit walk, the crowd settles in as Nick from Stunt New Zealand entertains them with the Demon Energy Stunt Bike. It's top 32 action time, and first up off the rank is that very important battle. SVG Shane Van Gisbergen back on the grid against Bruce Tannock, and Bruce Tannock has a borrowed car, Kenny.
Yeah, that's right. Bruce Tannock stepping into a familiar chassis, but it is an unfamiliar cockpit. So too for Shane Van Gisbergen, who gets his first ever drive in the R34 turbocharged RB30, and Bruce Tannock just struggling in the chase there, Brendan.
Yeah, not used to the pack and save S13 of Ben Wilkinson. Great to get out there and get those all-important championship points for completing it, but the R34, the Hyperdrive R34 season, and used to being chucked around these pro championship campaigns. Shane Van Gisbergen just taps the wall there, the left rear tail light hanging on on by a thread. That's where it all went wrong. Unfortunately for Bruce Tanner, big straight line coming down the first section. SVG through to top 16.
Next battle up, Kurt Whittaker lining up against Tom Marshall. Tom Marshall, his debut season in the Pro Championship. Kurt Whittaker, former champion, leading out in the V8 invasion.
Now, Tom Marshall in the ATJ S13, definitely not one to be underestimated. His first year in Pro, but doing a great job there. But Kurt Whittaker doing a consistent job on his lead run here, and he'll score the advantage from what the judges wanted to see. Tom Marshall, just that's where it all went wrong. Slight bobble as he came into Sector 2. That puts him out. Kurt Whittaker through to top 16.
Demon Girls enjoying the sunshine as Brad Smith and Adam Hedges get underway for their top 32 battle. Hedges in the lead in the Seas Garage S14, and Brad Smith giving chase, but it's far too shallow here down at Sector 2. He's just squirming and struggling in that Burger Fuel 350Z, Brendan.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, he just dove a bit there, and the judges crucified him quite heavily. Tried to make it back up on the last section, but scrubbed his speed, and that would be enough for Adam to go through to top 16.
Next up, a big warm welcome to our Aussie invader, Michael Prosnick, all the way from Australia in the SCR S13, the supercharged LS2, taking on Joe Marshall in the RB-powered ATJ 180SX, and Prosnick just all over that rear quarter.
Yeah, that's amazing angle there from Prosnick to ensure he keeps that proximity but doesn't tap the ATJ 180SX. Pros, a seasoned veteran of drifting in Australia, one of the best drifters from Australia, showing the young lad how it's done. An unfortunate end there for Joe Marshall, just a slight correction as he came into the section, messed him up for the rest of the track. Prosnick through to the top 16.
All right, championship leader Darren Kelly in the DKM Fabrication R34 up against Stephen Soul, one of the veterans of D1NZ, been around the scene there for a very long time, but absolute experience behind the wheel too, and he just fires on in there, but commentators curse. Darren Kelly just puts the loud pedal down. He'll take the advantage and the win through to the top 16.
Our next top 32 highlights up is Shane Allen in the SB Tools Bach Rattler Falcon versus Jody Verholz in that Milwaukee Supra with the new Toyota GT86 front. Shane Allen nice and wide, very wide as he hits the GoPro camera. They both push wide here. Shane Allen hits the wall though, that clips him. Disturbs his drift. The cameraman picks up an amazing shot there. Jody has to finish the rest of the section, but this is where it all went wrong for Shane Allen, unfortunately.
Seen it time and time again where you tag the first wall, it just sets you up on a bad line for the second wall down at Laser Tools, and that was all she wrote for the Rattler Falcon.
Yeah, so Jody goes through to next week's show, the top 16. Now we've got the local man, Aidan Omnett and Aidan's Tyres.co.nz, another round sponsor for this weekend, doing a great job supporting D1NZ when it comes to Mount Maunganui. And the young gun from Southport, well, he's not a young gun anymore, is he? He's a seasoned veteran of D1NZ in the TBR S15. Nico Reed laying it down. Aidan Omnett, though, pushes wide.
Yeah, Aidan Omnett held the advantage in this battle, but he just couldn't make it stick on that final wall ride. This is where it all went wrong for the Aidan's Tyres. Altezza just tags the wall, couldn't see through that smoke, and Nico Reed through to the top 16.
Our next top 32 highlight battles up is Gaz White, a four-time New Zealand champion, defending champion. Ted Deloy S14 out on front, slight correction there, but Shane Giles in the A1 Holmes S14 is just all on an ugly line there. The judge is going to be crucifying him for that. Gaz White, all he's got to do is flow through. He'll try to redeem himself here on the last section, but that's it for Gaz White. He's got the win. Shane Giles, and unfortunate for him in the A1 Holmes S14.
Yeah, that's right, Brendan. A bit uncharacteristic for him, going a little bit too shallow there on Gaz White. But next up, a pair of 180 SXs. Kyle Jackaway's out front in the Colton's Motors 180 SX, running the RB26, and in behind is Matt Lauder in the 2JZ powered Blink Company Stormtrooper.
Yeah, two very contrasting 180 SXs here as Matt Lauder just bobbles in behind there of the 180 SX. Kyle Jackway's on the lead. Very consistent run here by both drivers. Fluent, precise and synchronized drifting, but it's going to be a slight advantage there. Matt Lauder will go through.
Next up, Gaz Grove, Pro-Am Development Series graduate in the CMP Construction S15, the V8 Invasion, leading out from the RB30 of Dave Steedman, who's back in his own car this time, Brendan.
Yeah, Dave will be happy to be at home in the front of his hometown crowd, but Gaz Grove pushes way too deep. You saw that from the entry. He came in real fast, and that just set him up wrong for the second outer clip point, but he's managed to keep on drifting. It did disturb his line a bit, but Dave Steedman will get the advantage on this one and go through to top 16.
This is where it all went wrong on the Demon replay. Gaz Grove just tagging the Laser Tools wall, and that's a big disadvantage there. Steedman through to the top 16.
Our next top 32 battle up is Drew Donovan versus Danum Templeman. Danum Templeman on the lead in the NAC RX-7, 1,000 horsepower under that bonnet. Drew Donovan now in a borrowed car, that of his partner's, the Milwaukee Supra, so he'll be playing it a bit safe, but Templeman out on the lead. Very consistent run by both drivers at the moment, Kenny.
Yeah, that's right. Templeman holding a bit of an advantage here in the battle, but Drew Donovan doing everything he can through Sector 2, but he just pushes too wide. He washes out and he tags the wall.
Yeah, that'll be an easy pass for Danum Templeman in the NAC RX-7. Go through to top 16 next week. Drew Donovan just too much speed coming into that last apex, and a slight tap means he disturbed his line. Unfortunate for him, but we will see him back. Another local hometown hero is Ben Belcher in the Death Wish RX-7 versus Phil Sutherland. New R34 chassis after Mount Smart's big roll as we saw earlier on. This should be an interesting battle.
Yeah, great to see Phil back in a brand new car, but it just doesn't come together down at Laser Tools. Ben Belcher, the local, just powering away in that rotary-powered RX-7.
Yeah, a few teething issues there for the Drain and Development R34 all the way from Christchurch, but we will see him back for Hampton Downs. Ben Belcher through to top 16. There you have it, the top 32. Next week's show, the top 16. Armstrong versus Van Gisbergen and the Angry V8s. Woolhouse versus the Australian Prosnick. Kukatai, the Young Gun versus Nico Reed. Gaz Wider versus Matt Lauder. And Danum Templeman versus Ben Belcher. There's lots of good battles here. Make sure you tune in next weekend. D1NZ brought to you by Demon Energy, Gal Fuels, Cody's Bourbon and Cola, Pyro Company Fireworks, The Rock FM, Metal Militia Clothing, The Bling Company, Laser Tools, and of course our awesome insurance company, Club Auto Insurance. Make sure you catch us Easter weekend, Christchurch, Mike Perry Motorsport Park.